As the snow starts to melt in Scotland, the transition between winter and spring is underway. As the water temperatures rise and pike start to spawn, trout can come on the feed. I headed up to some lochs that are stocked with rainbows in the summer months, but as there's been a long winter between the last stocking and this fishing session, I hope to catch a fish that I do really enjoy targeting, the overwintered trout. Hello, how's it going? You joined me in my first outing for trout this year, and I've just got to the loch just now, and there's quite a few rising, so hopefully, if all going well, we should get a few fish out. I'm not sure what to start with really. They're quite near the surface, so something not too deep down. I'll have a look through my box and see what there is, but see if I can show you some of the fish. I can't tell if you can make it out on this, but there's a few rising up there. So what I'm basically going to do is get my rod set up, and I'm going to bail one of these boats out. They're all pretty full, and then take it out into the loch and head up towards where the fish seem to be, which is a bit farther up. So, but first things first, I'm going to get the rod set up. But to start off, I've got this kind of nymph with little legs. I'm not really sure what it's called, but I find it to be quite effective. It's a pretty big fly, but sometimes it works really well, so I'm going to try that to start off with. I've got a Loop Evotech rod, 7 weight, and that's and the reel in there is a Guideline Quadra, and then I think that's 8 pounds Seagar. So now I'm just going to do is bail the boat and then get out there and try and get a fish. Right, that's the boat loaded up, bailed. So yeah, let's unlock the boat from the chain and row them out. There's quite a lot rising behind me, so I'm going to stop rowing, maybe do one more stroke. I'm just going to let the boat slowly glide up into where I'm going to be fishing, try and minimize disturbance in the water, because very often, in fact every time, when they're rising like that and you row up the middle of them, they'll just move to the other end of the loch. It happens all the time, which is why I quite often like fishing from the bank, to be honest, because you can sometimes have a run at instant success because you don't know you're there, basically. They're definitely up in the slightly shallower water, so my fly might even be too heavy. I was thinking just at the end of March they'll still be a bit deeper down, but I don't know if it's going to work out like that. Alright, there's fish right here. Let's just see if we can get 1 or 2 out before they realize I'm here. So these fish will be overwintered fish. This loch's not been stocked for a while, so they'll be hungry and likely a bit thinner than normal. Unless it's been stocked recently. I don't think it has. I don't think it's been stocked yet. It might have been. We'll probably find out by the state of the fish. So let's get our first line out there. Oh, I've not even cast my first line and I'm already getting stuff stuck in my line. Right. Now when the water's a bit colder, I would normally be opting for a slightly slower retrieve, but because my fly that I put on is a bit heavier, I think I'm going to have to pull it in a bit faster than I normally would, because a lot seem to be near the surface, so maybe a fast figure of 8 should do it. My favourite method of fishing is the dry fly, and it's looking like it could be a good time for the dry fly, so I might switch over to one of them in a bit, but a few casts with the old reliable first. Right, that was right where I want to be. Right, fast figure of 8. There was a fish right next to them. Oh, that was a bite. I've landed that right in the midst of fish. Come on. 2 casts in 1 take. Maybe it has been stocked with the amount of fish that are crowding about, but That's okay. You would think that when they saw a bigger fly, they would think that's more energy than one of the smaller ones and they'd be more likely to take it, but matching the hatch definitely seems to pay dividends, to be honest. I might have to change. I don't have something exactly like the colours of the flies that are out here just now, but... So I don't have anything much smaller in my bag, but I do have this kind of sedge fly, and I think it will have slightly less footprint in the water. So we'll give this one a go. Sometimes it really does pay just to sit for a minute without casting, and the fish come a bit closer to the boat. So I've seen a couple now, very close to the boat. I've got a single dry fly on, quite a small one, because I think the flies they're taking are small. I can't tell what they are. I can see a couple in the water, and they don't really look exactly like this, but I like this one. The hooks aren't one of those thin, wiry kind of hooks. They're more of the sturdy ones, which I find just a lot better, as they don't bend out on you. You don't have to play them super light. So next time I see a fish near the boat, just do a small cast and see if we can get them. There's one there. There's one right there. See how close the... Oh, that's the same fish. Right, that's in his path, but my line's floating again. I barely have any line out at all. There we go. My fly had actually sunk. Oof. I saw it take it under the water. There we go, first one in the net. Yep, that's an overwintered one, I think. A bit thinner. It's not a fresh stocking. If it has been stocked, it would have been stocked in the last week, so. Yeah, you can tell this fish used to be bigger. They quite often lose weight, especially over the winter, but stocked fish that are in a while, like a lot of this fish in here, are in here for quite a while. Because not many people who fish at this loch, who are in this club, keep them. A couple do, and you know, it's totally fine too, but a lot of the fish survive for many years. There's our first fish, an overwintered one. You can tell he's pretty thin, as is the way quite often it goes with the overwintered trout that were once stocked. So we'll get him back now. Way strong, only way to do it. Now, my dry fly is sinking, so I've decided to change it for a slightly different tactic. So, I've added a dropper, and on my dropper, I have a small nymph, a pretty small one. Now, these are trout candy. They're great for brownies, rainbows, everything. And because these overwintered fish are a bit more wary, I feel like that would be a good tactic, fishing at either a very slow retrieve or static. So in order to do that, on the point, I have an indicator fly. Now, this indicator fly looks ridiculous, but it's probably the most successful one. It definitely is the most successful one I've ever used. It's a Chernobyl ant. You can see it there. Orange at the bottom, little legs on it, and black on the top. And you can just see the white bit there as an indicator, or the tip of the orange. Trout love these as well. You can see the teeth marks on that one from previous use. But maybe the overwintered fish will be too smart for it. Either way, I've got the other fly that I'm really fishing, so we can only try. So we'll give this a good lob out, see if we can get a fish on it. There's a fish over there. Now, the Chernobyl ant may get eaten, but I'm watching for it disappearing if a fish takes the dropper, or my line going tight. And that dropper fly does good all year round, every kind of trout. I really can't go wrong with it, to be honest. Any kind of gold-headed nymph is a good way. The size is probably more important depending on how wary the fish are, so I've gone for a fairly small one. Oh, that could be why I'm not getting any bites. Oh, I love using droppers. Oh, what a nightmare. Alright, let's get that tied up then. That's us tied up again. No dropper this time, just that same nymph. I'm just gonna give it a slow figure of 8 retrieve. Oh, it's a brownie. That can be a bycatch of these small nymphs. Nothing wrong with a brownie anyway. And the rain's come on. Lovely colours on it. Beautiful. I'm just going to try and turn this hook without really touching the fish. There we go. Oof, it's pouring. I then changed over to a dry fly, something with white wings that match somewhat similarly to the flies that were on the water, and this seemed to pay off. First cast on the dry there. It's a super fine hook though, I have to play it real gentle. Always bend out. More casts did result in hooking a few more fish and a few more takes off the surface, but these fish weren't staying on for very long. So after that, I decided it was just about time to reel in and head home, hoping for another break between the rain showers to head out for another session.